Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We've seen some amazing videos of the Bengal recently, and I thought I'd use this as an excuse to talk about capital ships in general in both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen, the Persistent Universe. In fact, this video is just a big excuse so that I can just look at all of the videos for capital ships and Star Citizen, clean them all up, and then watch them a few times. So, the Bengal is a massive carrier, which is going to feature heavily in Squadron 42, but also exist in the Persistent Universe. All these ships are going to exist in the Persistent Universe as well. There are 7 artists who have been working on the Bengal since the start of 2016 at least, and the exterior, and I'll use a quote here, has like 90 turrets and missile launchers, something like that, and one of the turrets is slightly smaller than an Idris. The hangar and the interior of the ship is truly impressive. The gentleman they were interviewing in ATV 100 Part 2 said that you could almost fit an Idris in the actual hangar bay as well. The ship is the size of 3 to 4 battlefield maps, and you can walk around it. It's all living, breathing ship. There's other ships inside it. There's Retaliators and Gladius all lined up in there. And that giant carrier, that jumps around too. That warps around. It's its own big city, basically. And you're going to be in giant fights with Bengals, Idris, loads of Vandal ships, loads of Hornets, a lot going on. There's going to be boardings. The scale of it is just absolutely insane. The Bengal is estimated to be done early October 2016 by current estimates, which is pretty exciting too. And I hope that means we're on track to get some Squadron 42 by the end of the year. Also important, at least early on in Squadron 42, I hear, is the Javelin class destroyer. The blockout video kind of sneak peek that we saw shows a little bit of the exterior of the Javelin, but a lot of internal work. Systems, corridors, various rooms. This capital ship was sold in extremely limited quantities for $2,500, the most expensive ship to go on sale, and it comes stripped of most of its internal hardware too, so it's going to be a bit of a feat for players to use. It's not much of a carrier though it will be able to carry some smaller ships or a Redeemer-sized ship. In the Persistent Universe, it's going to be pretty damn modular, so it's going to kind of be whatever players make it ship-wise. But it's supposed to be a destroyer. Its intended purpose is large ship-to-ship combat, taking on other large ships, or screening for ships larger than itself. Expect lots of big anti-capital ship weapons, torpedoes, and a reasonable amount of anti-fighter weaponry too. The Idris has had a couple of sneaky peeks in the past, where we've seen it in like glances or at the beginning of a trailer, but the Morrow tour from CitizenCon 2015 showed a huge amount of the interior too. The Idris comes in 2 flavours, the M, or the military version, which comes with a big railgun on a spinal mount, and the P, which is a faster version but replaces the railgun with a much smaller turret. Both have been on sale in limited supply amounts for $1,000 to $1,250 before, but just as the Bengal is iconic, so now too is the Idris. It has grown so much from its original concept. Originally meant to be Corvette in size, it's grown to over 230 meters in length and is now classified as a frigate. It's also got quite fat too. This time, though, the ship is somewhat of a carrier, not a huge amount of ships. It's not a Bengal carrier, which is a proper carrier, but it's enough to form a wing. The interior is huge too. I could get lost in that thing. We get to see various systems in that Morrow tour, characters, and even a mess hall. I would expect you'll spend most of your time in Squadron 42 on an Idris and a Bengal, maybe jumping between them, especially if they're in a fleet together. In some recent dev posts and reports, they've been testing the Idris in the dev branch of the game, with getting ships to take off and land on it, but also flying the Idris around the verse. I thought I'd also put a quick word in about the Drake Caterpillar and the RSI Polaris too. So the Caterpillar has grown to over 100 meters in length as well, and now it's a similar size to that of a Corvette really. We're also told that the RSI Corvette, the Polaris, is around that length too, maybe a bit bigger. These are both ships I'm extremely excited about because they are going to be much more obtainable by players than some of the larger ships, and I expect to see them a reasonable amount in the verse. So, at the moment, we don't know much about the Polaris Corvette. It's kind of just been told that it's chunky but also sort of sleek. It's obviously made by RSI. It's around 100 to 130 meters long, and it's supposed to be targeted at fitting the kind of original role of the Idris, which was that of a military corvette. But the Caterpillar has had a lot more attention. We've started seeing the interior as well as white boxing a lot recently. This highly modular, now pretty damn large ship is extremely versatile and is going to be well used in verse by industrious captains and outlaws alike. I expect these to be the hubs of many corporations as well, because you're going to be able to do so much with them. We know that it's got a front module, which has a few undisclosed uses. I'm expecting boarding and ramming and that sort of stuff, maybe salvage. A detachable command module on the side. The ship is asymmetrical, but this is basically where the main bridge is, and that can detach and reattach while in space still. So you can use it as an escape pod. There's various other reasons you might want to use it for as well. We'll have to see how that plays out though. There are also 4 other swappable modules. We've only seen the cargo versions of those modules, but that's where the Caterpillar basically gets its name. It's got those 4 identical modules that it can switch out for different things. I'm expecting that we'll get salvage, living quarters, barracks and armories, medical bays, maybe EMP suites, some form of mining operations, scanning, map rooms. We might even see hydroponics and science suites, that sort of stuff. I expect there to be a vast array available of different things for the Caterpillar to do and to outfit itself modularly. It can also carry dragonflies. I think it was expected that they'll be carried in the cargo module rather than their own special kind of flight module, but they're expecting 2 per cargo module at the moment, though that will displace some of the cargo room, obviously. It's going to fit so many roles, that Caterpillar. There will be hard limits to the amount of ships that other ships can carry, so we'll have to wait and see exactly what those are per ship or per instance, or however they're going to do it. But people are looking for pocket carriers or boarding ships and a relatively affordable pledge level. The Caterpillar is going to be for them. You obviously can obtain all these ships in the universe. Now, the Bengal and that sort of thing, that's going to be a lot harder to obtain. They're unlikely to be on sale anywhere, but you might be able to capture them with a large enough corp or group of people. So just bear that in mind, that you don't have to put any money towards the game to get all these giant ships. And even if you did, how would you pilot them? They're huge. You can only rent so many NPCs to help pilot ships. You're going to need a big org. And if someone else is going to always need some form of turret gunner for their Bengal. Other than the Caterpillar and maybe the Polaris, all of these ships play quite important roles in Squadron 42, with the Bengal estimated to be completed by October as well. It could be on course that we're going to still get Squadron 42, Star Citizen's Episode 1 Squadron 42 for a release in 2016. Something that I would be incredibly happy about. The Bengal and the Idris have evolved so much as well from their initial designs and concepts, but we can see the progress of these giant ships now, and the ship pipeline in general. Having these giant ships done, having them in-game, having them coded, is a massive step forward, and loads of other tech will literally fall into place after that. Some of these Vandal ships like the Harvester and the Mighty King ship are going to be insane in size and scale, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing the Retribution Super Destroyer when that's done. Capital ships are a cornerstone of Star Citizen and what they're trying to do with the game. It looks like, at least on the art and design side, they're making amazing choices and huge progress. But we're going to have to wait and see whether the networking and programming side can match and kind of keep up with the art and general fidelity. I, for one, am cautiously optimistic. I know they're going to do it right. I just hope it doesn't delay the multiplayer portion of the game, but currently I am suitably impressed and Star Citizen seems to be on track. These are the most important parts of Star Citizen to me, from a mechanical point of view, but also from a gameplay point of view. So let's hope that they get done correctly. Anyway guys, if you would like to possibly win a Dragonfly, then comment on any of our Star Citizen content throughout the month of July to be into a chance of winning. You don't even need to be a subscriber, although I would appreciate that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as I just said, because that would be helpful, and I will see you in the verse.